I'm Shannon Martin. Tonight, Grey Cup Sunday comes down to the wire.
Definitely one of those teams where no matter who you are, no matter what you come from, if you live in Hamilton, you love the Ticats.
But it's heartbreak for Hamilton. We'll take you there. Plus,
a valid fear, because I've had other students reach out to me and tell me that, they were close contact.
Queen's University cancels in-person exams. The decision came late tonight as the number of COVID cases in the school and region continue to rise.
I hurt a little bit, but I didn't feel too much.
More than 1,500 children received their COVID shot today at Scotiabank Arena. We'll have more on the superhero-themed clinic just for kids.
This is CBC Late Night News.
Thanks for joining us. It's not the ending the Hamilton Tiger Cats were hoping for. The 108th Grey Cup came down to a nail-biter until the very end, with the Blue Bombers winning in overtime. Yes, definitely not what the Ticats fans wanted to see after such a hard-fought battle. The Ticats have not won a Grey Cup championship in more than 20 years. The last time they had a chance at home was back in 1972. Let's bring in Bobby Hristova. He's in Hamilton. He's been there for all the action. Bobby, it was so close. What's it like there right now?
Shannon, it's a scene of disappointment for many here. The Ticat fans roared all game long. Now they're leaving the Tim Hortons Field behind us here, dejected. This game was electrifying. It was so tight. The cold, windy weather really doesn't help the mood at the moment. But when this game started, people were on their feet, cheering, hollering. I'm sure there will be lots of lost voices and parched throats by the end of this one. And, it was such a tight game. Winnipeg, by the end of the first half, had the lead. Third quarter rolls around, and the Ticats had it together. It goes into overtime after an incredibly intense fourth quarter, and then the Winnipeg Blue Bombers were just able to overcome Hamilton. But, as a reporter, you're inside the arena, taking your notes, watching the game. You could hear and feel the intensity of the audience as the game went on. So right now, disappointment, but throughout the game, it was spectacular.
So, Bobby, it wasn't the ending that obviously Hamilton fans wanted, but what a night. The Arkells performing and, getting to watch their team at home play in the Grey Cup. What do you think the weekend meant for fans?
Well, tonight was described as an emotional roller coaster. You could really sense gratitude from fans. People from all across Canada, from Manitoba, from both coasts, even from the U.S., flocking here to watch a game they all love. And you saw fans on both sides of this game really embrace. And even nearby streets hosting parties for people to watch together. You had cars driving throughout the city, honking their horns. And you're right, the Arkells played, the Lumineers played. The fans were on their feet the whole time. And so, while today was disappointing for Hamilton fans and exciting for Winnipeg fans, overall, I think the weekend was a ray of hope amid a bleak 2 years with this pandemic.
Absolutely, something we all need right now. Thank you so much, Bobby. Have a great night.
Thanks, Shannon.
To the other big story tonight, the province reported just under 1,500 new cases of COVID-19 and 8 more deaths. As you can see in these numbers, most of the cases are still in Toronto. But as we told you last night, the numbers in Kingston are way up. And that had Queen's University students calling on officials to move their exams online. As Dale Manuktuk reports, late tonight, those calls were answered.
According to students who sent these videos to CBC, this is what it looked like waiting to get into an exam room at Queen's University.
Seemingly deaf to the calls from public health officials for increased caution as case counts explode across.
That is Abby McLean reading a letter she penned to the editor of Kingstonist, a local online news site.
This decision to require hundreds of students to write exams in the same room stands in stark contrast to the recently announced KFLA public health restriction of a 10-person limit on personal gatherings.
That letter was published Friday. Today, the university deciding to pivot. As of December 10th, there were 618 active cases in the health unit. Compared to Toronto and York Region, both of which have averaged less than 8 cases per 100,000 over the last month. Kingston, Frontenac, and Lennox and Addington has hit a staggering 57 cases per 100,000. The region's public health unit announced 1 confirmed case of the Omicron variant not linked to travel, but believe there's more. There are currently active outbreaks in 5 Queens student residence buildings. In the last week, the university reported 135 new infections, up from 23 the previous 7 days.
Those numbers are rising principally at the moment from Omicron, but I think it's important to remember Kingston here in KFLA, we were in a 4th wave from Delta before Omicron hit.
The school says all remaining in-person exams scheduled until December 22nd will be changed to an alternative delivery format wherever possible. Otherwise, exams will be rescheduled in the new year. Abby McLean says many students are worried about going home for the holidays.
It's a valid fear because I've had other students reach out to me and tell me that, they were close contact.
The school is encouraging students to get tested before leaving the region. Dale Manukduk, CBC News, Kingston.
Meantime, it was a big day for little ones in Toronto. The city hosted a kids' vaccine day at Scotiabank Arena. More than 1,500 got their shots. Talia Ricci tagged along with 2 very brave young friends as they rolled up their sleeves together.
This Toronto transit bus has a different route today. Its destination, Kids Vaccine Day.
How are you feeling?
Good. I'm a little nervous because I'm scared.
Outreach workers in communities with lower vaccine rates have been busy.
We book appointments by going door to door in our community. We do face some hesitancy, but many people have already got their kids vaccinated.
They've shifted their focus from getting adults vaccinated to helping kids and parents feel comfortable, as well as making the experience accessible.
I get exhausted. I have MS, so I was like, I'm not driving down, but I thought it would be great for the kids because it's like a party.
Doing it together as a community makes it feel safer, makes it feel like, okay, we're going to get it done, we're going to get through.
Say hi.
We tagged along with Salome and Caitlin on their way to the Scotiabank Arena Clinic. New Toronto data shows that 29% of kids aged 5 to 11 have already got their first doses, higher than the national average of 17%. Sunday's goal, vaccinate more than 2,000 children.
We're thrilled with the number of children so far in the city of Toronto that have been vaccinated. We know that it's a slow and steady race. It's not always the quickest.
Officials say mass clinics like this will help protect the community as both Delta and Omicron variants spread ahead of Christmas.
We know that children 5 to 11 years of age have some of the highest rates of COVID in our city right now. Getting the vaccine as soon as possible before the holidays, though, is going to help around the holiday time. How did it go?
I hurt a little bit, but I didn't feel too much.
For kids who haven't had their turn yet, Caitlin has this advice.
When you get vaccinated, you just look away. You can squeeze your stuffy if you brought stuffy, or you can squeeze your jacket.
And as Salome demonstrates, squeezing your best friend's hand works too. Talia Ricci, CBC News, Toronto.
Some good advice there. Vaccination efforts, like you just saw in Talia's story, are happening across the province this weekend. Some kids in the Waterloo region got their vaccine today at a clinic designed just for them. Children got a chance to make some art, meet some friends from a gallery far, far away, spend some time with some emotional support dogs, and they even got to share their wish lists with Santa. There he is there. Organizers say these events are so important for the whole family.
It's so important to have days like this to support the families. We want them to have a good memory tied to healthcare. Healthcare is a good, positive thing, and whatever we can do to help support. It's not all the pomp and circumstance of costumes and special events. We have sensory safe spaces. We have quiet booths to support the family, and we really do work hard to support the children on their terms.
Physicians and experts were also on site to answer any questions. Organizers say the reception so far has been very positive. For a full list of clinics open in the area, you can visit the Region of Waterloo's website. In other news tonight, Toronto police are searching for a white SUV after a deadly crash that killed a pedestrian in Scarborough. This is the second pedestrian death in Scarborough this weekend. Police say this latest accident happened around 7:30 tonight. Officers tried saving the man, but he died on scene. Police are now looking for that white SUV. It'll have significant damage. They're asking anyone with information to come forward. Crews out in full force trying to restore power to more than 400,000 customers across the province. According now to the latest update from Hydro One about an hour ago, about 80,000 are still without power. Meantime, Toronto Hydro says crews made big progress today restoring power to the majority of customers in the city. We'll take a look at these pictures. Winds raced up to 100 kilometers an hour last night. Hydro One says it counted about 250 broken poles and nearly 60 damaged transformers, down power lines, and trees like that massive one you just saw. Those numbers are expected to climb. Hydro One also saying some could still be without power beyond Monday. You know, it never ceases to amaze the size of the trees that can come down when the wind is ripping at 100 kilometers an hour, Sophia.
Yeah, it was that rain that came before the wind as well, Shannon.
Yeah.
It really saturated those branches and the ground as well, making for that root system to not be as strong. And this was a really powerful warm front that was far to our north, so we got, gale force winds. Have a look at this. 115 clocked as a peak wind gust over the past 24 hours, and 130 in the Niagara region in Port Colborne. That is a low-end Category 1 hurricane force wind gust, so incredibly potent and powerful winds. Even today, we are still seeing 50, 60, 70, 80, even 90 kilometer an hour winds. I know wind was a big factor in the big football game in Hamilton, as well as was the temperature. And have a look at this. This is NASA satellite imagery, and it can actually show you all the sediment that was pushed against the shoreline along the Huron and the Niagara Lake Erie shorelines. That's just an indication of how strong that wind and wave was. And what else do you notice? A lack of snow. The mild temperatures, the record-breaking warmth, a lot of that snow was melted. We are still currently sitting a couple degrees above seasonal, 4 degrees in the city of Toronto, 4 in Hamilton as well for any of the Blue Bombers fans celebrating there. It'll feel like -1 into the overnight period. Still have a southerly flow. That will luckily continue for a few days. It clears out all of that cloud cover. We have bright bluebird type skies for the next couple days. Monday and Tuesday, we're hovering a few degrees above seasonal. It will continue with an above seasonal trend for Wednesday, but it comes with more wind and rain. I'll tell you about the next big system in the long range.
Okay, we'll see you in a few minutes. Thanks, Sophia.
See you soon.
Let's head to the U.S. now and get you the latest on the tornadoes there. Survivors are searching through the devastation. They're trying to save whatever they can, but the hope of finding more survivors is fading. Katie Simpson is on the ground and has our report tonight.
At first light, the scale of the disaster comes sharply into focus. Blocks of the town of Mayfield look just like this. It's eerily quiet first thing in the morning. Only a few storm survivors decided to hunker down as they wait for help.
I've been sleeping here because I want to protect what little I got left.
Shirley Poole and her boyfriend rushed their grandkids into the basement Friday night. She invited us in to show us how they tied their wrists to a metal drain to prevent them from being ripped out of the house.
And the kids were screaming, and I wasn't quiet myself. I was trying to scare myself there. And then all of a sudden the basement started shaking and little stuff started coming down, and it just sounded like it's just the horriblest thing I ever heard in my life.
All of this is overwhelming to process, even for the governor.
The damage is devastating. Entire blocks, more than one block, with nothing standing.
The cleanup is taking a back seat to search and rescue operations. The biggest effort underway right now is at the candle factory, where dozens of workers are still missing. Two of Marty Janes's relatives made it out of the facility alive. He's grateful they are okay. He's in shock that his neighborhood has been wiped out.
And then this wall hit me, and the roof came down. We got lost trying to get to my house because all the landmarks are gone. You lose your sense of direction.
Marty spent his day looking through the rubble of his home, searching for his prescription heart medication and one of his dogs.
Like a war zone. You think we just got hit with nuclear bombs or something?
Conditions for the search and rescue operations are less than ideal. Colder weather has moved into the area. There are widespread power outages and water problems. Katie Simpson, CBC News, Mayfield, Kentucky.
Former Toronto Mayor Mel Lastman is being remembered tonight. The larger-than-life personality died yesterday. He was known perhaps equally for his brash comments and controversial decisions, as well as his love of Toronto and for the people who call it home. Dahlia Ashry has more on the legacy he leaves behind.
Nobody! The furniture salesman, the bad boy icon turned politician, died on Saturday afternoon.
When it came to fighting for Toronto, I'll tell you, he was a little bulldog.
Lastman was the mayor of North York for 25 years. Residents of the area cherishing the legacy he leaves behind.
We came here to enjoy the day, and I guess we honor it in his name.
By 1998, he became the first mayor of the 6 amalgamated cities, also known as Megacity. Lastman reigned for 6 years.
Many people said there's no way that it would function, that it would be a disaster, and he showed everyone that that wasn't the case.
He was known for his controversial decisions. A snowstorm swept the city in 1999. Megacity Mel brought in the military to fight the blizzard. Eglinton Lawrence councillor Mike Cole says his friend was a staunch defender of the city.
People were calling his office saying, Mel, my mother's in the house. I can't get her out. I got to drive her to the hospital. I think that exemplified Mel's passion to get help to people.
But in 2001, his popularity took a hit. During Toronto's bid to host the 2008 Olympic Games, Lastman made remarks before his trip to Kenya, saying, "What the hell would I want to go to a place like Mombasa?" He later said, "I just see myself in a pot of boiling water with all these natives dancing around me."
I'm sorry that my comments were inappropriate.
The mayor of Vaughan knew Lastman before going into politics himself. He says people make mistakes.
It's not like today, it's a topic that is being expressed widely right across the globe. Back in the day, it wasn't as much, but he still created our race relations committee, and he did what he had to do. Is anybody perfect? Absolutely not.
The small showman with a larger-than-life personality leaves behind a lasting legacy.
The Mel Lastman Square, this is a cultural centerpiece, center point. You know, so much goes on here. A very good space indeed in the city.
Mel Lastman was 88 years old. Dahlia Ashry, CBC News, Toronto.
Anne Rice, the popular Gothic novelist known for the Vampire Chronicles series, has died following complications from a stroke. Rice first gained fame from her 1976 bestseller, Interview with the Vampire. In 1994, that was adapted into a movie starring Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt. Another book, Queen of the Dam, would also be adapted for the big screen. In all, her book sold 150 million copies, and Rice was 80. In Toronto's East End today, residents showing big support for the YWCA. The event was called Cram a Cruiser. You can see the police cruiser there, trunk open for shoppers passing by. They were able to buy pre-packed donation bags. The food will go to families living in the community. Here's a question. Have you ever been to a puppy cafe? One couple in Oshawa is welcoming all dogs and their humans to the Roxy and Misty Puppy Cafe. It's named after their two pups. They're giving out homemade treats and head scratches. It started as a pandemic project that just keeps growing.
What do I have in my pocket? Do you want a treat? Hi, I'm Amy Gaudette, and I'm from Oshawa, and this is our Puppy Cafe. As you see, there's a big turnout. All the pups in the neighborhood have stopped by. Sit. Yes, good girl. It started out was like a simple tin of treats, and then I became my extra self. and started leaving multiple different kinds and started baking some, and then I wanted to decorate it for the holidays and everything too. And it's turned out to be this huge community thing, obviously. Lots of people have shown up, and yeah, it's been wonderful. Well, I'm a hairdresser, so I've been laid off 3 times due to all the lockdowns. Dylan lost his job at GM at the start of it, and we were so sick of all the negativity in the news, so I wanted to create like a happy, positive news feed on my Instagram.
We just live up the street. He goes by here every day. Don't you, Sonny? Sit. Good boy.
We just love making all the dogs and people happy around here. I came home from work, and the fiance kind of put together a real big mess, so she bought some crates, and I had to fix it with some 2x4s and whatnot. But it turned out a lot better after I got my hands on it, because when I picked it up the first time, it opened up like an accordion. The spot right here is kind of like a little community zone for people. It doesn't get too crazy, usually it's 1 or 2 people coming at a time throughout the day, but everyone can kind of meet up, and dogs get to say hi to each other.
Hi, Bowie.
How long do you think you're going to keep doing this?
I think indefinitely. It's been such a good turnout. And I just want to find a way to make it more permanent from like the rain and the snow and everything. And once I can figure that out, I have no issue leaving it out all the time. Yes, I love the dogs. I've always been a huge animal lover. We have the 2 dogs ourselves. I feel like everyone else's dogs are part of my life now too, which I love. Thank you.
I love that. And the dogs love it too. You can see they're so happy to see the other dogs.
Positively awesome, and I mean positively with a P-A-W.
You are so good at that. Sophia's
Cheeky,
back
cheeky
with our,
with the
yeah, I love it.
You know what? And it looked really, really nice and bright and warm with that sun shining and those shots, and it is a sign of things to come with the long-range pattern. I teased you earlier with a few days of above seasonal warmth and plenty of sunshine, just like we saw in that video. And then what did I allude to midweek? Another Colorado low with another boost in temperatures, rain and wind really right across the province, including into Windsor and into the nation's capital. Another Colorado low is brewing in the U.S. Midwest. It means another couple rainy days, really early Wednesday right into late day Thursday, except the center of the low pressure system this time will be tracking over Lake Superior. So we won't get the brunt of the wind event like we saw this time. We are still going to be what it looks like. It's still early out, but still into the warm sector. So we still will see the brunt of the tropical-esque temperatures. And I'm saying tropical-esque temperatures in mid-December. So if we get any more snow, it's going to be gone again by the time we head into midweek. Look at what this next system is going to do to our temperatures once again. 14 degrees. We should be at 2 this time of year. That's 12 degrees more than normal. More anomalies to come, just like the record-breaking 17 degrees we saw on Saturday. Will we break the daily temperature record that was set in 1984 for that day? I'm forecasting 14. So possibly the weekend will be a shock to our system, back to 0 though. And here's hoping that continues and a white Christmas is following that.
Yeah,
but
what
I'll
a
take
ride
the spring-like
between
temperatures.
Yes, for sure. Thanks so much, Sophia. That's our show for tonight. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you soon.